Have you ever felt like you're your own worst enemy? Like you're the one standing in your own way? Well, today, we're going to dive into some powerful ideas from Brianna Wiest's book, The Mountain Is You, to figure out exactly why we do that and, more importantly, how to finally get out of our own way.
Right off the bat, the book hits you with this incredible idea. What if our lowest moments, those times we feel like we're completely breaking down, aren't the end? What if they're actually the setup, the necessary first step for a huge breakthrough? It's a fascinating way to look at our struggles, isn't it? Not as failures, but as the very beginning of something new. So that brings up the big question. What's your mountain? Is it a habit you just can't seem to kick? A pattern that keeps showing up in your relationships? Or maybe it's just that feeling of being stuck and you don't even know why. This explainer is all about helping you identify what that mountain really is.
And here it is. This is the core idea of the book, the one that kind of flips everything on its head. Our biggest challenges, the things that feel like these giant external obstacles, they aren't out there. They're in here. The mountain that you have to climb is you.
So what is this inner mountain made of? Well, it's born from this internal tug of war. There's the conscious you, the part that knows what it wants, the better job, the healthier life. But then there's the unconscious you, and for some reason, it's secretly hitting the brakes. And don't worry, we're going to get into why it does that in a little bit.
This right here is such a critical distinction to make. Look, we all deal with circumstantial problems. A flat tire, a tough week at work, that's just life happening. But when you notice the same kind of problem popping up again and again, just in different clothes, that's chronic. And that's your clue that the problem isn't out there, it's in here. You're facing yourself. So the big takeaway here is that your mountain isn't some flaw you should be ashamed of. It's actually a guide. It's like a big signpost pointing directly at the thing that's holding you back from the life you say you want. And that means that facing it, really understanding it, that's your only path to true freedom.
All right, so if the mountain is us, what's it actually built from? The book argues it's built, piece by piece, from self-sabotage. But, and this is a big but, it's probably not what you think self-sabotage is. There's a surprising twist here. Check out this definition from the book because it's a real game changer. Self-sabotage isn't just about being destructive for no reason. It's a coping mechanism. It's our brain's weird, clumsy, and totally misguided attempt to get our needs met when we're too afraid to do it consciously. In a very strange way, it's a form of self-preservation. Let's look at some real-world examples, because this is where it gets super relatable. Pushing someone away in a relationship might secretly be about avoiding the deep vulnerability of true connection. Procrastinating on a big career move could be your subconscious screaming that you're on the wrong path. See? These aren't just random acts of destruction. They're clues. They're pointing to what you really need. Okay, so why? Why do we resort to this self-sabotage stuff instead of just, meeting our needs in a healthy, direct way? Well, as you can probably guess, the answer lies in our deepest and often completely unexamined fears. Now this is fascinating. Look at how our brains handle these huge, scary fears. We'll often take a real, legitimate terror, like the fear of losing control of our own life, and we'll project it onto something much safer and more abstract, like being a passenger in a car. It feels so much easier, right? To worry about the car ride than to admit you're terrified that your life is moving in a direction you didn't choose.
So the book brings up this amazing story about Carl Jung, one of the founders of modern psychology. As a kid, he absolutely hated school. And after a minor head injury, he started having these fainting spells. He realized later that this was his unconscious mind's brilliant, if not a little dramatic, way of solving his problem of having to go to school.
And this whole experience led him to this really profound conclusion. All neuroses are substitutes for legitimate suffering. Basically, our anxieties, our weird habits, our self-sabotaging behaviors, so often they're just elaborate distractions from a deeper, real pain that we're just not ready to face yet.
So what does this all mean? It means all those behaviors that drive us crazy, they aren't the real problem. They're just the symptoms. They are our mind's best effort to cope with something deep down that we just haven't figured out how to deal with head on.
Okay, so we know what the mountain is. We know it's made of self-sabotage, which is fueled by fear. So what do we do about it? How do we actually start climbing? Well, according to the book, it all starts with one powerful and honestly often misunderstood idea: accountability. But first, we got to talk about a really common trap. We're told to just use positive affirmations, right? Just love yourself more. But what happens when you're looking in the mirror, telling yourself you're amazing and successful, while every cell in your body is screaming, no, we're not?
And why do these affirmations fall flat so often? Well, it's because deep down, our inner self, it knows the truth. We can't just talk our way out of living a life that isn't aligned with who we really are. And that inner conflict, that gap between the words and the reality, that's where all the discomfort comes from.
The real breakthrough, the thing that actually changes things, is when we stop trying to trick ourselves and just get brutally, radically honest. It's about finally looking at your life and saying, with total clarity and zero judgment, you know what, this isn't working for me anymore, and I'm the only one who can do something about it.
And this just completely flips the script on what accountability means, right? It's not about beating yourself up. It is the ultimate act of self-love. It's looking yourself in the eye and saying, I love you too much to let you keep living like this. That's real self-respect.
Which, of course, brings us right back to the central message of the whole book. This whole journey isn't about mastering some external challenge. It was never about the mountain. It's about mastering yourself.
So once you really truly get that the mountain is you, the whole game changes. The goal isn't to defeat it anymore. It's to understand it. Suddenly, the very challenges you face, the things that make up your mountain, they become the path forward. They show you the way.
So think about it. Your biggest challenge is actually inside you. Your self-sabotage is just a cry for help. And taking responsibility is the first real step to freedom. The prize isn't just what's on the other side of the mountain, it's who you become in the process of climbing it. So the only question left is, who will you become?